France, we've had for 2 to 3 years a massive anti-gender movement, which goes into three major directions. The first one has to do with same-sex marriage, and this is where the whole movement started. It was a protest against the possibility of given to gay couples to get married, and above all, a protest against the possibility that they have children. And this is the first direction. The second one has to do with school agenda, school curricula, especially because our current Minister of Education, Najat Vallaud-Belkacem, that used to be the Minister for Women's Rights, wrote something called ABCD de l'égalité. That was a short program for explaining sexual diversity and gender equality to young children. And this was interpreted as a way of calling into question the sexual difference, and it was framed with a lot of hoaxes regarding the fact that by promoting or using this program, the teachers in the schools would, for instance, teach to the students how to masturbate or things like that. And the third direction is a broader one. It's a kind of allergic reaction against the very idea of gender. And you would have protest in the streets using the idea of l'idéologie du genre, gender ideology, as something that would completely put down the whole Western society. And you would have, for instance, attempts of intimidation, especially against teachers and librarians. You would have a group of people who would go into public libraries and ask that that book or this book would be withdrawn and not offered to the public. And this is the product of a very big coalition now, because we're really talking about, when we're talking about demonstrations, we're talking about hundreds or thousands of people demonstrating against same-sex marriage, for instance, or even against the idea of gender. And of course, this is not something which has to do with France only. We could not find something like a real network, something that would be organized or well-structured at the European level, though it's very clear that there are something like a shadow network, because you will find the same patterns in different countries. For instance, hoaxes, the hoaxes I mentioned, the one about talking about gender would mean teaching masturbation or things like that. This hoax, for instance, could be also heard in Poland, for instance, or here in Germany, in Köln, I've heard. So it's something that basically goes everywhere, even if, of course, there are differences. And in France, we are much more focused on the topic of school, because it's typically something which is important, because it's linked to the idea of République. But we are all together in the same process, in the same trend of massive, strong, and more influential anti-gender movement in Europe.